All right, so we are here today talking with Dick Zucker with Beldon Roofing, and we are ecstatic that you are our very first Business of the Month for the San Antonio Chamber of Commerce. Thank you very much for having us today. We're very happy to talk with you.
Tuesday, believe me, on behalf of the entire Beldon team, we're honored. We're honored to do it at any time, but especially honored to do it as number one.
Thank you so much. So we have a couple questions that we're going to ask you. So this is going to be completely natural and fun and really informative for our members and our watchers and listeners. But first things first, before I get into any of the questions, I have to comment on this pink vest and pink construction hat. Please tell me a little bit about that.
Brad Beldon, our CEO, is absolutely committed to community involvement and to causes. And there's no question breast cancer awareness is high on his list. So Brad unrolled on Monday morning, October 1st, company-wide, hats, vests, shirts, socks, lanyards, you name it, pink for Beldon Cares.
So tell me a little bit more about the history of Beldon Roofing.
We were founded by Maury and Ann Beldon in 1946. Maury and Ann came to San Antonio when Maury was preparing to go into World War II. Maury was a brilliant individual from MIT. Came back here and started a lumber company and a roofing company and worked closely with Ray Ellison, who built a massive number of homes for the GIs. And their only son, Mike Beldon, after graduating from Rice in 1960, came into the business and helped it explode through the 60s into commercial roofing, residential roofing, re-roofing, and remodeling. And Mike's son, Brad, came in the late 80s after graduating from UT and going to Washington to really understand roofing from a different standpoint. He came here with his wife, who he met up there, and took over the company and exploded the company into 48 different states, including Puerto Rico.
So great history, great company. Tell us a little about Dick. Where are you from? How long have you been with Beldon?
I took a flight suit off after 20 years on active duty in the Air Force, interviewed with Mike, shook hands back in 1985, and I've been here ever since. I spent a lot of time dealing with special commercial customers, residential customers who needed care, and really trying to build up our sales department. And after a while, I was tired of climbing on roofs. It was hot, dirty, I was aging, my legs were giving out. Mike and I sat down, we talked, and he said, why don't you transition into community involvement? And I absolutely pride myself now on community involvement and training and mentoring the rest of our team here in the company.
So with that much history with Beldon, you have to have some fantastic stories. So tell me, what is the weirdest roofing job you worked on?
Perhaps the scariest and most memorable was Pearl Brewery. When Pearl was starting to transition from the brewery into something else, we were called in to do some roofing projects there. And many of those buildings are historical, many of the buildings are old, including one that's kind of dome-shaped, that's the garage. And all at that time, about 240 pounds of me was up on the garage, checking out the roof, seeing the condition, when it gave way, and I fell through the roofing to my armpits, and I looked down in the hole, and below me was storage of equipment. Old bottling equipment, old vehicles, old transportation, and things I didn't want to fall on. So I'm there swaying by my armpits, taking a few breaths, thankful that I didn't go through, climbed back up, determined they not only need a new roof, but they need the deck replaced as well. We got the job.
I'm sure
we got the job.
Well, but no injuries.
No further injury.
Okay, fantastic. So then, what type of roofing material would you say is the best or your favorite?
There's no best.
No.
In the roofing industry, if somebody comes to you and says, we have the best material for you, they're speaking improperly. Every roofing material has a specialty.
When would be the hardest season to build or fix a roof?
The most challenging is very cold weather, because certain materials don't do well in very cold weather.
But this is Texas.
This is San Antonio, this is Texas. But we sometimes get days into the 20s and 30s. And not only doesn't the crew like to work out there, but the materials don't work as well. It can be hot. Very few materials have a high temperature limit. And believe it or not, most of our crews prefer to work in the warm weather. Not the hot weather, the warm weather.
Very nice. And so when would be the busiest time of year?
Busiest tends to be spring and fall.
Tell me a little bit about your involvement specifically with the Chamber of Commerce.
I got involved primarily because Mike was a past chairman of the Chamber back in the mid-90s. When he became chairman, I started to get more and more involved. I served on the Military Affairs Committee, I served on the Budgeting Committee, I serve currently on the Ambassador Committee, which I absolutely love. As ambassadors, we welcome new members, we help them open up ribbon cuttings, and we stay out in the community. And it's because of the Ambassador Committee that my passion for the Chamber has just continued.
Name 3 things for me that you have gotten out of the Chamber of Commerce.
Support for businesses, number 1. Absolute support for business. 2, standing behind key issues in the community. Not necessarily political issues, but issues that are important to the city. And rightfully the Chamber does take a stand, and they do spread the word. And perhaps the 3rd is because of my strong involvement, I meet people I like to deal with. And I like to deal with them either as a customer of ours or just a friend.
As such a long-term member and person that's really involved in the community and with the Chamber, what advice would you give a potential member?
Any potential member needs to get active. Writing a check or sending in their donation to the Chamber is not the answer. They've got to join a committee first. Join any committee that strikes their fancy. And if it doesn't work for 6 months, try another committee. But be active on a committee and then work your way up to committee leadership.
Very, very well said. So now, is there anything else you would like to tell our Chamber members?
I would say for Chamber members, stay engaged, stay active, and bring somebody else in who's not a member. Expand the Chamber. It's our Chamber. It's not a Chamber.